Hey guys, it's Cthulthu here. So here I am at Mobilising Armies, and in this video I want to show you how to get ranks as quickly as possible. I'm going to be showing you two methods to use here, the suicide method and also the deterrent method. Now firstly I'll be showing you the suicide method, and there are three important things to know for this method in preparation. Firstly, all your units might be light infantry, so if you have any heavy infantry, get rid of them. Secondly, you'll need to ensure that all your special units are all cannons. You can have 5 maximum, and you should ensure that you always have 5 for each and every game that you play. And thirdly, you'll need to make sure that the game you're playing is a siege mode game. So now that we're actually in the game, the first thing you'll want to do for the suicide method is to send all 10 of your units to attack the walls. Now make sure that they are attacking the same side of the wall. In this case I'll be attacking the eastern wall because that is my side. Make sure that you don't send your units to the north side of the wall or the south side of the wall. Even though it's unlikely you would ever do that in the first place, it needs to be mentioned because it is important that all your units are on the same side of the wall when it comes to actually committing suicide. Now before suiciding, you will need to remain in the game for a certain length of time in order to get your ranks. In the top right corner of the screen next to the minimap, you'll be shown how much time is remaining. Once it reads 26 minutes, you'll then be able to end your game. Now the reason people use the suicide method is because it's the most predictable outcome achieved within the shortest amount of time. Within 3 minutes your game will have started and ended, and with the addition of another minute to prepare and wait for the next game, you'll have been guaranteed to have gained 1 rank within 4 minutes. No other method provides the player with the same assurances. If you fight for a victory, there is no definite outcome, and the length of time it takes to reach that outcome is also unpredictable. You could end up fighting for a victory but have spent over 6 minutes in the game to earn it, making it no better than using the suicide method and at the cost of your effort. Or worse, you could end up losing and end up with 1 rank and at the cost of twice the time and effort. So here we are with 27 minutes remaining. Once it's 26 minutes, we'll finally be able to commit suicide and guarantee that we'll get at least 1 rank. Once the time comes, you'll need to use your cannons and fire them towards your unit. The cannons hit all units adjacent to it, so by using it south to north, as in this video, I will be attacking all my units north of the cannon. With the castle having helped damage my units sufficiently, because they are all light infantry with less health and defense, I ended up killing all my units with just 4 of the 5 cannons I had. And so there we go, that was the suicide method. And just a quick recap, you take light infantry because they have less HP and defense, and when it comes to killing your units, they will have just enough HP to still be alive after 3 minutes, but little enough for you to be able to finish the job. You play siege mode and attack with all your units because you want the castle to damage your units sufficiently, and you take cannons because they can attack lots of units at the same time and because they can hurt your own unit. And finally, you stay in the game until there are 26 minutes remaining so that you meet the minimum requirements to gain rank. And now for the second method, the deterrent method. Now, I don't know if this is a well recognised method because it's something I just started doing myself because of the situation I kept finding myself in. Initially, I used the suicide method, then I noticed that almost everyone else I played with was trying to use the same method, and this begged the question, if we're all trying to lose, then who's going to win? Now, for this method, you will continue to use cannons, because mainly they're the best special units in the game anyway, but also because you might want to give a suicider a helping hand, or you might even have to use them yourself to commit suicide if you're in a bad situation where it's just not worth bothering to continue with a fight that you might be in. You will also want to be playing in siege mode, because that's obviously where other suiciders will be playing, and those are the people that you want to be playing with. Now, in terms of units, this is where the main difference lies. The deterrent method is about having a strong army that deters your enemy from wanting to fight you. In order to do that, you'll have to use heavy infantry and take a balanced army consisting of each race, so that you will always have a tactical advantage or be on an even level. Now, this game here is a scenario that you'll find yourself in about 80% of the time, where all your opponents are using light infantry. Their intention may have all been to suicide, but there will always be someone who is looking for a chance to win a game with their light infantry, and simply by having heavy infantry, I've given the other players no choice but to suicide. When this is the case, there is only one thing you need to do, and that is to complete 10 actions, 1 with each unit. I personally choose to use 4 units to gather the 4 parts of the catapult and have the other 6 units attack the wall, but it really doesn't matter as long as you have all 10 units doing something. You could have the 6 units that I send to attack the wall collect rocks instead for the catapult. In this final clip, we'll see a scenario where we meet heavy infantry opponents. Sometimes heavy infantry infantry opponents can be deterred from fighting though. Having a balanced team can be a deterrent against opponents who only use one race of units, because the complications involved in strategy. For others, the thought of wasting time having to fight can also be a deterrent. In this case, I was the player who chose to suicide rather than fight. I saw his balanced heavy infantry team and decided to wait for him to make the first move. There was always a chance that my opponent might choose to suicide rather than fight me, and by letting him make the first move, I let him determine the end result. In this case, he chose to engage me in a fight. Once again, there's no point fighting when it could take longer than it takes to suicide 2 games, and in this case, there was also no guarantee of who the winner would be. I chose to suicide to ensure that I would gain 1 rank within 3 minutes, and really, it ended up being no different from suiciding with light infantry, because my opponent assisted in the killing of my unit. And so, there you have it. The advantage of using the suicide method is that you will get a minimum amount of ranks per hour. On the other hand, the disadvantage is that the minimum amount of ranks you'll get will also be your maximum. The deterrent method's disadvantages are that you will need to use heavy infantry, otherwise nothing will stop anyone else from trying to claim the win. Also, when you choose to suicide in a bad scenario, it will take you longer because of the higher amount of hit points your units will have, and generally speaking, no game will end within 3 minutes, because even a game with 3 suiciders will take a little longer because people don't always suicide on time. However, the huge advantage of using the deterrent method is that you will gain ranks far quicker, and in my experience the deterrent method is the way to go.